Hey folks, how you doing? Nick Jennison, it's the Monday Guitar Show. Welcome on board. We're doing the thing that we do on Mondays, which is hang out and talk about the guitar. And today we are discussing what we have called in the Lick Library HQ the most underrated arpeggio. It's a very specific arpeggio that we will get into. No prizes for guessing which one it is. You're welcome to take guesses in the comments, but there are no prizes for guessing which one it is. However, it is one that many folks don't use. Many folks don't even bother teaching because it's like, oh, you're never going to play that. But it is super useful, exceptionally powerful, and useful in a variety of circumstances as well. This is not just a situational thing. Now, in our previous stream, we discussed the diminished seventh arpeggio and how we can get the most out of that one. That was a lot of fun, and it kind of got us all thinking down at Lick Library Towers, going like, hey, wait a minute. So diminished seven is good. What other arpeggios are there that we don't talk about enough? And there is one, and we're going to get into that one today. But before we do, I want to quickly remind you that today's stream is brought to you by licklibrary.com, guitarinteractivemagazine.com. Go to licklibrary.com for lessons, guitarinteractivemagazine.com for news, reviews, gear, all that other good stuff. You can go and check out my latest course at licklibrary.com, which is, of course, all about arpeggios. That's not a descriptor, that's the name of it. It's called All About Arpeggios, but it is, surprise, surprise, all about arpeggios. And a lot of you guys have been having a lot of fun, a lot of success with this course. It warms my heart to see how well you guys are doing with this and how much you're enjoying it. So, hey, if you've been having fun with the course, let me know. It makes me very, very happy to hear about it. We are going to say some hellos, but before we do, if you are new here, let me tell you about what we're doing. I'm going to cough, first of all. Very dry, despite the fact that it's super warm here. As you can tell from my red complexion, I didn't think I caught the sun much today, but apparently I'm bright, bright red. So there you go. Must mean it's going to turn into suntan at some point over the next 48 hours. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. If you're new here, welcome. We do this every Monday. We hang out, we chat about the guitar, and our objective, as ever, is to make you, dear viewer, a slightly better guitar player when you leave us than you were when you arrived, and we've got a pretty good success rate with this so far. So anyway, let's say some hellos and then we'll get stuck in. First of all, first through the door, Response Audio. Great to have you on board. Marcin is here. Tim at the Applings in the house. He's in the middle of a house move. Man, house moves are stressful, so I'm glad you could make it, man. And hopefully you've got time with your guitar. You can sit and play with us today. If you guys have your guitars, by the way, let me know which guitar you're playing. I'm playing this one. This is something of an audience favorite. This is my McCarthy Soap Bar. It is loaded, beg pardon, with a pair of Greg Koch signature Fluence Gristle Tone P90s. Very cool sounding multi-voice pickups. I like them, but also they're noiseless, which is always nice in a room like this where there's lots of lights. PJ is here. Great to see you. Larry Warren's here, as is Sacred Godslayer, our friend Trolls Jern, and Fog Cornish is in the house, who's learning the lead parts for Mother Mary, and we're talking about the genius of Michael Schenker. Michael Schenker is indeed a genius, and he was a lovely man when I got a chance to talk to him. You know, he gets a very bad rap, and I'm certain at least some of it is justified from maybe back in the day, but it's been my experience that War Michael has been nothing but pleasant. Nice guy, very interesting hat. Apparently bumps his head on things quite a lot, so he wears this big furry hat. Don't know, that's what he told me. He was probably joking. But what I will say is that for Michael Schenker, when he played, he brought a 100-watt Marshall into the Jimi Hendrix flat that we sometimes conduct interviews in. And he brought this Marshall up to a whisper volume. I'm talking like it was so quiet. This thing was barely on. And he played, and it was just like, oh, there's the sound. There's the sound. The sound is in his hands. He maintains a large portion of that tone, and that touch is down to light strings. So he's a nines guy, and he was like, look, light strings are great because they keep the amp tight. They give you that kind of mid-range, barky, bitey thing that Schenker's kind of known for. I can't pull that off, right? I've tried. A lot of folks in the Northeast are really into that sort of thing as well. A lot of older guitar players that I grew up watching, playing in bars and clubs and stuff. Michael Schenker was their hero for obvious reasons, and they were really into that Michael Schenker thing. And I was always fascinated by this hands sound that these guys would have, where It also has this killer vibrato that's always in time, this. I can't cop the Schenker thing that well, but I do really, really enjoy it. So yes, Michael Schenker, a genius, and it is all in the touch. Helmet Strap is here. Says guitar doesn't want to stay in tune. Scorchio. Same, man. I've had several of my guitars going out of tune so far today. A couple of my PRS, which is unusual because these things don't go out of tune. These PRS, I normally pick them up. If I haven't played them for 6 months, I can pick them up when they're in tune. It's crazy. So yes, definitely very, very warm. Kate Strange is in the house. Dreams is here. Response Audio says he can blame the heat and humidity, but his tuning issues are generally related to his ears. Yeah, familiar with that one, man. And for me, power gripping for sure. Franz is here. Catmandu 1962 is here. Who else do we have? Oh, we've got Jackson Virtuoso in the house. Let us know what guitar you're playing, by the way. We want to hear from you. Zach Lee is here. Ergo Hog is here. Crank Tom's in the house. Who have we not said hello to yet? Block 18 is here. Our friend Tone D. Farkas is in the house. Tone in the name, Tone by nature, I guess. I messed that up, but never mind. Steve Ford is here. Great to see you. Mike Seedorf's tuning in. Mike, it's lovely to have you on board. Our friend Pablo is here. Bernard Newton is here. Colin's tuning in on Facebook. Peter Montague is here. I don't think I've seen you in a while, Peter. It's lovely to see you back on board, playing a PRS SE24. Fabulous. I think we've got one of these kicking around over here, the green guitar. Very, very nice. We've got a 335 in the house. We've got a Charvel SoCal, an Ibanez 7-string, a PRS SE Tremonti, lots of PRS love, a Paisley Telly, jealous. I'd love a Paisley Telly. What else do we have? A PRS Custom 24 US custom build. Oh, also jealous. Marcin's playing his CE24, fabulous instrument. Who else do we have? Very quickly, Franz is here. He visited the Satch Vibe Band in Amsterdam. Oh my goodness. Amazing, very jealous. Johnny D's here, Marl Riley's here, and Vil S is playing his Partecaster. Dreams is playing an SG 60s tribute. We got some lovely guitars in the stream today, let me tell you, right? Very envious of all these. I'm not short of a few guitars. I have no reason to be envious. It's just cruel of me. I should let you enjoy your guitars, right? Anyway, so let's get stuck into the measure of today's stream. I've got to highlight this one very quickly. Jackson Pro Soloist SLA3 Gold. I love it. Absolutely friggin' love it because we had a chance to play some of those guitars down at Fender HQ, and man, that guitar really stood out to me. That might be the fastest playing guitar I've ever played in my entire life. It was absolutely insane. I normally don't want 4-speed, put it that way, but this guitar, man, I was like, whoa, I think this is more guitar than I can handle. It was like playing a race car. It was insane. You know, more so than like Ernie Ball Majesties, or played a bunch of Gems, a bunch of Piers, played a load of the ergonomic guitars. This instrument was like, this thing's nuts. It's off the charts fast. It's crazy. Anyway, so we're going to get stuck in today's stream, and the arpeggio, no prizes for guessing. Marcin absolutely has it right. Our most underrated arpeggio, the arpeggio that most folks don't play anywhere near enough, is, drum roll please, the minor 7 flat 5. Arpeggio. Now, let's get into what this is. You can call it minor 7 flat 5, you can also call it half diminished. Now, this is an arpeggio that we normally associate with the much maligned, and some would say rightly so, Locrian mode. Let's begin by establishing what we mean by Locrian mode. So the Locrian mode is a mode of the major scale, and it's one that, for my sins, I didn't even bother teaching you in Mastering Modes Part 1, because so rare are the occasions that you're going to play it. It sounds kind of foul, right? This is an E minor 7 flat 5. If anyone would like to play along, the notes are as follows. We play 7 on the A string, 8 on the D string, 7 on the G string, 8 on the B string. Yak. You might think about it as coming from this E minor 7 shape, which is 7, 9, 7, 8. But we take the 5, which is this note, that's note number 5 of our arpeggio, move it down by a semitone. It's minor 7, flat 5. Now this is not a chord that we typically sit and vamp on. We don't normally spend a great deal of time on this chord for a plethora of reasons. Similarly, it's unlikely that we're going to sit and play this scale for any huge length of time, it just sounds kind of gross, right? It sounds kind of grim. So people write this off. They go, you know what, Locrian's horrible. And people will even talk about this. Guthrie Govan's talked about it. He's gone, you know, Locrian, ugh, disgusting. I've done the same, right? Guilty of this. However, its root arpeggio is as follows. The Locrian mode's formula is 0, 0, that's the open string. I'm very hot, right? So my brain is not working. We have the open string, and then we have the flat second, flat third, fourth, flat fifth, flat sixth, flat seventh, back to the root. Basically everything is flat apart from the root, which can't be flat, and the 4, which we could, but we're not going to. If we did that, we'd get the super Locrian scale. Another story. So if we take the root, third, fifth, and seventh from this particular scale, we get root, flat third, flat 5, and then flat 7. It is subtly different to the diminished 7th arpeggio we played last week, which is root, flat third, flat 5, double flatted 7th. The minor 7 flat 5 is the regular old flat 7. You can think about it as a minor 7 arpeggio with the 5 flatted, but it is way, way, way more useful than that, because in its root position, yes, it sounds kind of disgusting, but we can lay this over so many chords and have them sound absolutely tremendous, right? It's a beautiful thing. We got some comments about Locrian being dark. Yes, indeed, Locrian is dark. That's why nobody plays it. They can't find the 0 string. Yeah, man, brain no worky today. Don't know what to tell you. I've already done a gig and then gone maxed out a barbell squat today. It was good fun. What about the 7 sharp 5? Says PJ. Another interesting choice. We'll maybe get to that at some point. We got a comment in the Hendrix chord. It's not the Hendrix chord, this one, but I can see why you'd think that, right? So it's a minor 7 flat 5. I'm going to show you a shape that we can use to play this minor 7 flat 5 that we are going to use to our full advantage. We're going to begin by playing an E minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. So the E minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio is going to be here. We play E, there's our flat 3. We would normally play this note, which is our 5, but we play root, flat third, flat 5. So far it's fret number 7, fret number 10. This note is going to be on fret number 8 on the D string. A7, A10, D, fret number 8. We follow this up with 7 and 9 on the G string. 7, 10, 8, 7, 9. Intervals are root, flat third, flat 5, flat 7, root. An interesting and disgusting sound. Bear with me, I'm getting a call for some reason. That should not come through. I see what's going on. I'm gonna get rid of that. That's my man, John. John, if you're watching this, you've just interrupted our live stream and it started going do 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 do. Well, that's not going to happen again. We've turned that off. So, returning to our thoughts. Root, flat third, flat 5, flat 7, root. Let's take this and lay it over an appropriate sounding backing track that sounds suitably disgusting, right? This is going to be our grunge backing track that we've played. It's in 5. We played it last week. It's a lot of fun and it can withstand a great deal of tension, right? But this is just to get our fingers around this arpeggio. We're going to be doing some stuff with this where we create all sorts of tonalities with it. We'll be able to create dominant tonalities, major and Lydian tonalities. We'll be able to play over minor 2-5-1. We'll be able to play some very cool minor sounding stuff, some Dorian sounds. There's lots to be had with this. But first, we're just going to get our fingers around it. We got a comment from Vil S saying it sounds very King Crimson-ish. It does indeed sound very King Crimson-ish. Even another one, Mike Seedorf, saying the flat 5 reminds him of the Munsters. Yeah, I can totally see that. Can 100% see that. So anyway, let's have a little play with this. A quick reminder, our shape is 7, 10, 8, 7, 10. Right? I'm going to go to the big gain lead sound. I'll show you the upper extensions in a minute, but let's throw the track on, see how it sounds. So, going to our close-up cameras, we can get away with playing this because this track contains within it this B flat note. Let's try that together. We don't have to play it super fast, but we're going to play it like this. Lots of fun. Now we can pepper this in to our pentatonic soloing. Say for example we use box number 4, or we can even use box number 1, we're in the key of E. Pepper this in to create some interesting tense sounds. This is surface level stuff with this. We've got more deep things to come. So that lick up there, this kind of like very bitey, disgusting, angry sounding lick. Now playing up this end of the neck, this business here. That is just a minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. It sounds really freaking cool. I'm going to show you that shape in a second, but first of all, let's extend this shape. So we've got some more things to play with, right? So we have this. We've already played that. Now these notes that we're playing here, this root note, can then become our second finger here to create the bottom portion of a minor triad. We would normally play our first finger here to play a root, flat, third, 5. We're going to dump that down by a semitone. Root, flat, third, flat, 5. Pinky finger goes up here to fret number 10. We have 9, 8, 6, 10. That's our upper portion. There's another version of it we can play up here, which uses the same lower partial, starting on the low E string. It's 12, 15, 13, 12, 14, and here we play 12, 15 on the G string, skip the B string entirely, and we can play 12, 15. Now, this is not complete because we're missing off the flat 7, but it's a cool sound. A very cool sound, I'm sure you'll agree. Now, that is our minor 7 flat 5. Now that we know some places to play it, let's quickly trade. We'll do some trade solos, then we're going to come back, we're going to plug this into some other spots. In case you're just tuning in, minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios in the key of E. Okay, you take a turn. It is in 5, but 5 is good for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got some love for the backing track. That backing track is available on licklibrary.com. Go check it out. Okay, that's my turn, you take a turn. Have a little space. I could noodle on that all day, right? But we're gonna plug this into some other slightly less chaotic sounding environments in a minute. And I'll talk about what's going on here that makes this work, by the way. Okay, so very quickly, the theory behind this, the reason it works so well, even though we're not playing minor 7 flat 5 per se, what we're really playing here is kind of a rock progression where we're playing a root position power chord, and then we're playing the flat 5. It's the extension of this good old Black Sabbath thing. The reason it works so well is because the flat 5 in this progression is enharmonically equivalent to, well, it's the flat 5 that's in this. Yeah, Christian Day just said it right. It's not even enharmonic. I told you I was warm, my brain doesn't work. It's the same as what's in here. We're just emphasizing it. Now, we can do a little trick with this to make this fit a little better into a blues progression or a blues rock kind of setup by taking the flat 5, which is this sour sounding note, and putting a little bend on it. Now we can play this, it brings it up into being a minor 7 arpeggio. But here's a fun thing. If we put little bends on all of the notes that aren't the root, it becomes a very convincing blues sound. Now I'm going to throw this against my Dorian. It is the blue note, as RF has rightly pointed out. I'm going to throw this against my Dorian backing track, but then I'm going to show you another way to make this Dorian. So this is the Led Zeppelin style Dorian backing track that we've got. If you want to play along, it's a lot less chaotic than the previous track, but once again we're playing E minor 7 flat 5. It's a really fun sound. Lots of fun. Now that is a really dark take on the minor pentatonic. We can also include minor pentatonic notes around this if you wanted to play along with box number 4, where we play 10-7, 10-8, 9-7, 9-7, 10-7, 10-7, like this. It's very, very tense sounding. It's like, ugh, but it's a lot of fun, right? I really, really like it. Now, there is another way that we can make this a Dorian sound, right? There's lots of things we can do with this, because thus far, all we've done is we played the minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio in its various iterations, but we've played it from the root. So we've gone E is the key, E is the chord, E minor 7 flat 5 is what we are going to play. But we don't have to do that. We can play different minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios from different degrees of our home key center or our home chord. Watch what happens if we take the minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio that we just played, but instead of playing E minor 7 flat 5, we play C sharp minor 7 flat 5, still over E, but C sharp minor 7 flat 5 over E. I'll explain what this becomes. It actually becomes a different chord, but we'll get into that and we'll get into why. So there's my E, we have C sharp, there's the flat 3rd, there's the flat 5, there's the flat 7, there is the root once again. Literally the same shape. But if we play it over this E, here's the notes we get. C sharp, E, G, B, C sharp. That is an E minor triad with the inclusion of a C sharp, which is the raised 6 of E, which basically means it's the perfect crystallization of Dorian. It's how you can get Dorian in the fewest notes. You go, well, there's a minor 3rd, so it's definitely not mixed Lydian. There is a 5, so it's definitely not some kind of weird Locrian thing. And there's the 6. It's Dorian. You guys have guessed it. We've got some good guesses in the comments. Dorian is the one. So here's the rule, right? Here is the rule. If you play, a couple of ways you can think about it. You can play the minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio from the 6, the raised 6 of the key to get Dorian. Or you could play so that the flat 3rd of the minor 7 5 arpeggio is on the root. Either is fine. If you prefer thinking in shapes for now, you can just put the pinky finger on the root and you're good. Watch how this spells Dorian when we play it along with this backing track. And then we'll talk about some cool ways you can jump between the two. We're not even nearly done with this, by the way. There are so many possibilities for this very cool little arpeggio. But here we go. Let's take some Dorian. Let's just establish Dorian first. Okay, here's my root note. It's so Dorian it hurts, right? It's like ultra Dorian. It's almost too Dorian. It's almost crying out for some pentatonic to relieve some of that Dorian tension. But we can incorporate some pentatonic notes, or we can go back to our root position with bends, and we can jump between the two. That was a little quick, so let's slow it down a bit. It's incredibly Dorian. Now, there are some other contexts we can do this in, but let's stick with that for the time being. So what I want you to do, we're going to take this C sharp minor pentatonic. I want you to pepper this in to an E Dorian improvisation. You can also play it up here at the octave. You can play it in different positions too, but these are some good places to start. I'm going to lead us off like this. I'll go. You take a turn, you can have the chord changes, because the chord changes are nice, just really highlights that Dorian sound. We'll get into why in just a moment, or what it's turned into in just a moment. You can have the little bit here. Here we go. Marcin says, because C sharp Lachman is the same scale as E Dorian, you got it, nailed it. Right, you're absolutely correct on this. You're absolutely correct on this. That is what it gives us. Now, here's a fun little trick, right? If we play this C sharp minor, and then we overlay it with this, sorry, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, and we overlay it with this E minor 7 flat 5. Let's look at the notes we get. We get C sharp, D, E, right? And then we get G, this A sharp, it could be B flat, but it's A sharp, which is a sharp 4, C sharp, B, C sharp, D, and E. We essentially get Dorian sharp 4. So if you play these two together, we get Dorian sharp 4. Now that's getting a little bit out there, so let's go into a different direction with this, right? Let's continue with this minor 7 flat 5 idea, outlining Dorian, but this time we're going to move it to A. So for this, we're going to go to this A Dorian shape here. Now here we're going to use it to outline the 4 chord in a blues. Now it's quite common in the key of whatever we're in to play the Dorian of the key over the 4 chord. Now that actually gives us another scale. It gives us another scale, but if we play over the 4 chord in a blues in A, let's take, where is my blues in A? I've got one with horns, that's quite good fun. Okay, here we go. So to show you what I'm talking about, here's minor pentatonic. Here's Dorian over the 4 chord. Now we can do this with our minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio over the 4 chord. We'll play F sharp minor 7 flat 5 to outline A Dorian. So we might get this. Here we go. Minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios in a blues without sounding crazy, right? This is F sharp minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. Outlining the 4 chord in our blues. let's try that together. So when it gets to the 4 chord, you can play whatever you want. We're in the key of A, whatever you want, but when we get to the 4 chord, minor 7 flat 5 from F sharp, it is your turn. I'll show you some other places to play this as well if you'd like some like an easier way to play through. Here we go, minor 7 flat 5. And then back out, right? Hey, it's nice, isn't it? But let's talk about what's actually happening here. Let's talk about what's actually happening because there's something deeper going on here. There's more to this, right? There is more to this. I've been on these 2 cameras for ages, but I feel like these 2 cameras are doing the trick. I'm going to cut to this one. Hey, that's a nice camera. Let's go back to these 2. Now, anyway, so let's talk about what's actually happening here. So here we're playing F sharp minor 7 flat 5 over. It's a lot of notes, isn't it? God, that is a big lot of letters. Now, we've got a very cool question coming in on this one here about jamming in C minor pentatonic, but the backing track has a Middle Eastern or Dorian vibe. I'm going to answer that later on. That's a very good question, right? I'm going to answer that because it's a really cool question. So don't worry, I haven't missed it. We're just going to answer it at the end of the stream because we're kind of in a flow here. So F sharp minor 7 flat 5 in the context of the 4 chord of an A blues. Well, first of all, what is the 4 chord of an A blues? It's D. So even though we're playing this imagining A Dorian, the chord is telling us that it's D something. Well, isn't this fun? Because watch this, right? Play an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio, 9, 12, starting on the A string, 9, 12, 10, 9, 11, and put a D on the bottom. Well, isn't that good fun? What is this? From D, we have D, F sharp, A. We have C, we have E, we have F sharp. Yeah. Wherever it goes from there. It's James Brown, right? It's I Feel Good. But what it actually is root, 3rd, 5th, flat 7, 9, 3rd. We've got ourselves a dominant 9. Now by playing our minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio from the 3rd of a dominant chord, it gives us a dominant 9. We are playing a dominant 9 arpeggio. The bass player is playing this. We're playing this. But lo and behold, that's what we got. Incidentally, this doesn't just work with arpeggios, it can be chords as well. So you can play an F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, but if there's D in the bass, it becomes funk, which is really nice. I'll put an E in the bass and show you it here. This is a G sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord. G sharp, D, F sharp, B. Let's roll the volume back a little bit, maybe split the pickups. Works an absolute friggin' treat, right? It's so good. It's one shape. So let's put this not over the 4 chord, but over the 1 chord in our blues, right? There's our 1 chord. We're in the key of A. We play the minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio from the 3rd, which in this case is C sharp. Start here. How many times, by the way, have you seen me play this lick? That's what it is. It's a minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio. A little bit of chromatic stuff at the top. But it's that. With some chromatic business. That's all it is. Right, so watch this. I'm going to throw it in the blues. Here we go. Let's do it over E as well. Could it be easier than that? Yeah, well, probably not, truthfully. But that is so easy, right? It is so easy. And it's a lovely little fingering too, as our friend Volcan has rightly pointed out. It's a very cool, lovely, fluid little fingering. I quite like that, right? It's a nice way to play it, right? And it's a fun trick. Now, there is more that we can do with this. We're not finished. We're not even finished with this yet, right? But this is, it's such a cool trick, right? -7 flat 5 equals, it equals dominant 7. It just does. It's one of those things. In the same way that it equals -6. Now, there are some other fun ways we could play this too. Essentially, any way you could line up the Locrian scale with a parent mode, we're laughing, right? We're laughing. So, now... loads of notes. Now, we can continue to do this over this dominant 7, but we could also do a quick reanalysis, that is the word, of our Dorian thing that we just played. So our Dorian take on this was, oh, hello, oh, there's many of me, and we don't want that. We want this. Our Dorian thing was we played this, right? We played this. We have pinky finger on the root in E. We play pinky finger on the root. There's the raised 6, root, flat 3rd. There's our 5th. There's our raised 6. If we put an A on the bottom, it stops being E Dorian and becomes A dominant 7. There's a reason I chose these keys. Now, the cool thing about this is this highlights the fact that this A dominant 7 chord is at the core of what makes Dorian sound Dorian. That's all there is to it. Now, I'm going to show you another version of this in a second, but first I've got to say hello to my friend Kieran. Kieran is a fabulous guitar player. Kieran's a student of mine, and a wonderful guitar player who is, he's got his head screwed on. Kieran's got his feet in the blues, but he has high ambitions too, and a fabulous player. So anyway, I think I've said that several times now, but it doesn't stop being true. Now, anyway, let's move on to another very cool trick we can do with this one. So, have you guys ever had a sneaking inkling that you'd like to play some jazz, right? Or you'd like to impart some jazz onto your guitar playing? Well, one of the easiest ways we can impart some jazz into our guitar, so we could, sorry, what am I talking about? Got distracted there for a minute because I'm hot. I am hot. Can you not tell? I'm so warm. It's not even funny. It's comically hot. I need a fan or something. Anyway, we're not equipped to deal with the heat here in the UK. It's not even that hot on a global scale, right? But anyway, jazz. One of the easiest ways to impart some jazz into your guitar playing is with the addition of a little bit of functional harmony. The most obvious of which is the 5-1 movement. Now, the 5-1 movement is where we take not just a dominant 5 and resolve to either the major chord on the 1 or the minor chord on the 1, but we take an altered dominant chord and resolve that to the 1. Now, in this case, this 5-1 move is going from B altered dominant to either E major or E minor. We'll do E minor for argument's sake, because we've been playing lots of E Dorian. Lots of fun. That's our move. I'm sure you've heard it 1,000 times, right? It's a lot of fun. It is the 5-1 movement. Now, there is a way that we can use our -7 flat 5, our -7 flat 5, to outline an altered dominant. And let me show you how, right? Watch this. Take B -7 flat 5. Sorry, what am I talking about? B altered dominant. My mistake. B altered dominant, which we're going to resolve to E something. Play a -7 flat 5 arpeggio from the 7th of your altered dominant. Altered dominant is B, so we're going to play A. You can also think about it as playing from the fourth of the chord you're resolving to. So if you're resolving to an E, you play from the fourth of an E. That'll do the same thing, right? So if you're looking ahead and going, I'm resolving to an E, play from the fourth of that E. It'll outline a B altered dominant. Why? Because what do we get? We get flat 7 from B as a flat 7. There is our flat 9 from B. There is our B major third, flat 7, flat 9, major third. This guy here is our sharp 5, and then flat 7 again. That's a lot of fun. Now let me show you a fun way to play this in the context of E Dorian. Up here, there's A, it's the flat 7 of our 5 chord. We play A minor 7 flat 5. There's our flat 7, our flat 9, our major third, our sharp 5, and our flat 7. You can drop this into basically any chord progression and imply a 5-1 movement, even if the 5-1 movement is not there. Let me show you what that sounds like against our Led Zeppelin style backing track. I told you this arpeggio was underrated, right? It's just brilliant. You can do so much with it. It's not even funny. So where is this lovely Led Zeppelin backing track? This is our Dorian track. We're going to go here. Now, if I play this, here is my Dorian, minor pentatonic Dorian. Now, if I want to imply a 5-1 movement, which is best done at the end of a cycle, which might go like this. Now, it's not there in the chord progression, but I can put it in there like this. And it might work by me playing my A minor flat 7 flat 5 arpeggio at that point in the cycle. I'm gonna make sure I'm not gonna bump into these chord changes just yet. Okay, so I might play this. Did you catch that little movement there? I'll make it a bit more obvious this time. Lots of fun. Now, if we find a track that actually contains this 5 movement, like say a blues, for example, or we could do it. You know, we can do it over this one. This is the Richie Kotzen style one that I like playing a lot. This has a minor 7 flat 5. Sorry, it has a dominant 7, altered dominant 5 in it. I'll show you the chords very quickly. It's in C. So we have C minor, E flat major, A flat major 7, and this altered dominant here. That is going to be my G altered dominant. I'm going to play F, which is from the 7 of the G. The whole thing's in C, so if I start with C Dorian, or C minor pentatonic, start with the guitar being in tune would help actually, hang on. Let's just take a quick minute and address that, because that is not the move. Where are we? Yeah, so we're in C. An F minor 7 flat 5 over the 5 chord. Got to get caught up in my own fingers there. Let's get one more go at that. Loads of fun. So this can be an altered dominant as well. Let's sum this up very quickly. if you play minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio from the following places, if you play it from the tonic, it gives you this very cool like flat 5 rock thing. If you play it from the 6 of whatever you're playing on, it gives you Dorian. If you play it from the major 3 of whatever you're playing it on, it gives you a regular dominant chord, dominant 9. If you play it from the flat 7 of whatever chord you're playing over, it gives you an altered dominant. It's so versatile. There's one more I'm going to show you, right? And this is one of my favorite little tricks. This is how we can outline a minor 2-5-1 using just this arpeggio. And I think I've talked about this trick before, but it's great fun. So let's assume we're still playing in E. We're going to go back to the Led Zeppelin track because that's a nice, easy one to hear it over. But we're going to play a minor 2-5-1 over the top of this, which is a very jazz thing to play. Now, the chord progression for a minor 2-5-1 would be, in the key of E, would be as follows. We would play F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B altered dominant, and then E minor 6, usually. It could be minor 7, but usually minor 6. F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B altered dominant, E Dorian something. Watch this. F sharp minor 7 flat 5, playing F sharp minor 7 flat 5. B altered dominant, playing A minor 7 flat 5. Over E Dorian, play a C sharp minor 7 flat 5. We get this. So much fun. Check this out. That is my favorite trick for playing minor 2-5-1s. We can impart a minor 2-5-1 into something that doesn't already have a minor 2-5-1 just by deciding to do it. If we play it in our solo, we will manifest it in the harmony in the ear of the listener. Now, it's best done in places you normally find a 2-5-1, which are usually at the end of cycles like this. Ready? Where we'd go. So, let me plug this in for you. Cheeky little bit of E, minor 7 flat 5 there. I'll plug it in here. Here we go. Very, very, very glaring there. Not the most graceful way of playing it, but you can hear how it sounds. And the cool thing about this is it's so interesting. It sounds cool even if you don't play it terribly gracefully. If you don't do anything interesting with it, it's interesting all of its lonesome. So I might try it like here. Now that was a bit of a shred thing, kind of got off the rails a bit, but we'll try it again. Now that's such a fun lick, right? That is a really entertaining lick to be playing. Of course, you don't just have to play it here. A parting thought on this is, what if we resolved this to A Dorian? We did a minor 2-5-1 in A, which would give us B. B, E, A Dorian. Well, where might we play this? Well, where did we play A Dorian before, just a second ago? You got it right, we played it on the 4 chord of an A blues. Well, what if we're really daring and play a minor 2-5-1 going to A Dorian, but one that actually resolves on D altered? Not D altered, D dominant. Why not? Why not? Well, let's find out why not. Watch this, right? Come on, that is so much fun, right? That is so much fun. Folks, the minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio is your friend. It is a really criminally underused idea. It feels great under the fingers. It's capable of a huge wealth of sounds. It's just chef's kiss, right? I love it to death. Hopefully you guys are going to get so much fun out of this. If you want more help with your arpeggios, I've got a course on the subject. It is called All About Arpeggios. It's available for all Lick Library members. And if you're not Lick Library member, maybe now's the time. Maybe now's the time. Go grab the course. It is a lot of fun. It covers this and so many others. We're going to answer some questions because I'm certain you have them. If you have questions, drop them down below. I'll get through as many as I possibly can. And our new friend, right? We are not going to, our friend O'Gellin Guitar Sessi Me. I'm guessing I've pronounced that terribly. I'm bad at pronouncing names. I am terribly sorry. But don't worry, we have not forgot your question. You are second in line because the next question is quick. Dreams has said he may have just ordered a PRS SE Hollow Body 2 Piezo, Piezo. Any opinion on this guitar? Yes, love it, right? Great sounding guitar. I saw a comparison. I think it was Daryl Braun guitar, who I really like. I really like his YouTube channel a lot. I've never met the guy, but he seems like a lovely lad. I like his channel a lot. I like how friendly it is and how informative and forensic his stuff is, right? Big fan of his reviews. He did a comparison between this guitar and a Taylor acoustic plugged in, and they sounded pretty close, man. So the acoustic sound on those things through the piezo is excellent, right? And of course, it's PRS. The plugged in sound, the electric sound's gonna be killer, right? You guys know I like some look. Right, this is the field where I grow my PRS. There's so many of them. You know I love some PRS, but that one in particular, a really cool guitar. Very cool guitar. Okay, we're going to answer this one, right? I'm jamming in C pentatonic, but the backing track has a Middle Eastern or Dorian vibe. How do I shift into the sound? I'm going to show you a couple little tricks with this one, right? So we're playing in C minor pentatonic. We'll keep this question in mind. I'm going to throw a track on that might have a little bit of that essence. I'm going to stick in C. This is one of our heavier tracks. Ooh, yeah, it's loud as well. So this one doesn't really have an Eastern vibe, but it does have a Dorian vibe. Now, if we're playing in C minor pentatonic, here are a few of the notes we're looking for, right? There's C minor pentatonic to establish. Now, for a Dorian vibe, hit the raised 6. Now, where is that? In our minor pentatonic, here's root, here's flat 7, here's 5. The raised 6 is going to be there, right? Flat 6 is here, raised 6 is there. Its neighbor is also here, down 1 octave. And emphasize these notes. Now we can also emphasize these notes with a little bit of a Marty Friedman microtone in there by shifting them just ever so slightly sharp. Other places we can get this. We can get it by taking the 4 and moving it to a sharp 4 to give us Dorian sharp 4. Take all of the 4 notes, bump them up by a semitone, but also don't be afraid to give them that little microtone bend. That's what that sounds like. Here's another one. Take the 2. There's our 1. Take the flat 2. A semitone above our root note. Give that a little microtone bend. It's not all the way up to the 2. It's in between. Missed. Exceptionally Eastern sounding. Well, not Eastern sounding, but exceptionally unusual and cool and twisty-turny sounding. Hopefully that helps, right? Our friend Guarab Lama is asking about modal interchange and my ideas about soloing over those chords. I think this is when we were playing over, I'm not sure what we're playing over here, but my approach to modal interchange with this is a fewfold. It depends upon whether the track has what I might call enforced modal interchange, where you have to change. Say, for example, we're playing in A minor and all of a sudden an E flat major comes out of somewhere. And that just crops up. You got to catch that. Right? Why? Because it's not even related to our home key. In that instance, I kind of go into the old Berkeley survival mode. I didn't go to Berkeley, obviously, but you know, be a lot better if I did. Maybe, I don't know. A lot poorer if I did. Let's put it that way. Where if it's a major 7 chord, you play Lydian. If it's a minor 7 chord, you play Dorian. If it's a dominant 7 chord, you play mixed Lydian, or you play Lydian dominant, one or t'other. And if it's an altered dominant chord, you play super Locrian. That is the thing. However, if it's a track like this one, which is, let's find it. This is a modal thrash. Now, this has modal interchange. One of my ways of doing this, I'll show you the chords very quickly. The chords are E minor, C major, A dominant 7 first inversion, F major. It's a classic Megadeth chord progression. One way to play over these chords is, in terms of modal interchange, is just to just don't do them. Don't play over them. And just blare through the buggers with whatever the common scale is, which is minor pentatonic. So here I'm just finding notes that work over everything. Now this is good because then your melody, because the melody works over everything, the melody becomes the anchor to the chord changes. And it's almost like it becomes the thread, and the chords change around it, but the melody keeps kind of everything together. However, if it's not that, if it's this kind of chord progression where things are closely related, I'll usually try and move as few parts as I can. So I want to change as few times and in as few places as is possible. So for example, I wouldn't go Dorian over E and then back to Aeolian over C and then back to Dorian over A. I'm probably going to start with Aeolian over the E and then kind of move it as little as I possibly can. And I'm looking out for the times I have to change and changing that way. This is because this is kind of the rockist approach to it, if that makes sense. There's Dorian. F Lydian over the F. So I'm trying to move as few parts as I possibly can. And usually if I'm playing rock stuff, I tend to think parentally about it. I tend to think about one global key and how things relate to that global key. But if I'm playing fusion, I think differently about it, and I treat each chord as an island. So for me, I think that's part of the sound of the different genres when you play these modal interchange ideas. Hopefully that has answered the question. Folks, I'm going to have to bid you adieu because, man, we've run out of time. It's been so much fun. I'm going to play over this fusion, I'll play over this thrash thing real quick. It's great fun, and I'll see if I can sneak in some C sharp minor 7 flat 5 arpeggios for that good E Dorian A dominant kind of flavor. My name's Nick Jennison. Thank you so much. It's not an Andy James backing track, by the way, in case anybody's wondering, right? It's not an Andy James backing track. It's very similar to an Andy James backing track, but I made this one. This one's mine. But folks, my name's Nick Jennison. If you've enjoyed what we've done today, don't forget to subscribe on the way out the door on whatever channel you happen to be watching on. Send this to your guitar playing friends who you think would get some use out of this. I think it's most guitar players, if we're being honest. And if you want more help with this, go to licklibrary.com for lessons, specifically my new course all about arpeggios. I think you'll dig it. In the meantime, I'm going to bid you guys goodbye. We'll see you guys next week. Next Monday, same place, same time. Not the same guitar. It'll be over there somewhere. I'll be playing another one. Anyway, my name's Nick Jennison. Let's play out on this one.